Reddit and the censorship? Wait, what? The cancer of censorship. This is interesting. Okay, let me go ahead and look at this. The cancer of censorship. How Reddit itself is set up to become one of the most heavily censored social media platforms and how it may be destroying itself because of it. Moderating is a time-consuming, thankless job. Well, it's not a thankless job because people actively hate you for it. So it's the opposite of thankless would be a good thing, an improvement. Instead of hiring in-house mods or relying primarily on algorithmic moderation, Reddit relies on an army of 70,000 heroes to do this heavy lifting. Volunteers were chosen because of algorithmic moderation struggles where each subreddit has its own rules, but there are unforeseen side effects. For many moderators, the power associated with being a mod is an afterthought, but for some, that power is their compensation. They want to moderate because it gives them a pathway to a position of authority over others. This Reddit user, so what's this here? 5 people control 92 of the top 500 subs. And then he just got banned on everything. The moment that you see through the matrix, they try to shut you down. This is like the, it's like the internet janitor Illuminati. You know, it's just kind of funny. Holy shit. They're proving I'm right. Yeah, I guess so. And considering what kind of person would opt to spend 12 hours a day doing the dirty work of a social media company all for free, this appeals to people who crave power with a lot of time on their hands. Enter power mods. These are the ones that have like moderator in like 50 different places. And we saw this video before. Again, it takes a special kind of person to make this guy not look like an idiot. But he managed to do it. He did. It's impressive. Yeah, you don't see that every day. What stresses this? Power mods often subscribe to the bleeding edge of progressive rhetoric, and they can be frequently found using their power to erasure users to conform to the latest left-leaning talking points. Why is it borderline impossible to discuss trans as a topic? This post has been removed. Okay. Power mods, commonly seen pinning their own posts and comments to the top of subreddits and comment sections. The goal is simple: to keep the unwashed masses in line and drive the narrative forward by any means necessary. If you are still a genocidal hate group that needs to be in law custody... Wait, what? What the hell? Oh my god, okay. Oftentimes these moderators will lock down entire threads because of the questions posed make individuals think about hot-button issues in a different manner and may question the very nature of the issues themselves. Why is the majority of non-binary people white females? The science is not on this one. Unanswerable, unlocked. Given it mods and Reddit as a whole, so ideologically captured, you'll see them using their power simultaneously to promote misinformation and suppress the truth. This post is unapproved. Armed man arrested outside Brett Kavanaugh's home after threatening Supreme Court justice. Okay. I don't think this is Reddit moderators halt discussion about Nicholas Roske, a man who is influenced on Reddit. Where still the moderators turn a blind eye to inflammatory rhetoric if it happens to align with the narrative. Often you can find Reddit salivating at the thought of murdering someone, but otherwise ban-happy mods turn a blind eye, and whenever the hatred is directed towards Republicans and Trump. I think this part is absolutely true. This is completely true. And this is the first actual problem, by the way. All the other stuff is like, you know, this is something that the free market of ideas can solve. If you don't like these subreddits and how they're designed, just make your own. But this actually is, like, this is a big issue. Comment with 159 upvotes. Defending Herman Cain Award. Oh, is Herman Cain Award something for whenever... Is this like a... This is probably a subreddit that celebrates whenever Republicans die? Like, I'm just kind of assuming that. Yeah, big surprise. And, so, yeah. Out of COVID. I mean, oh, look. I don't... Like, it's just how it is. Some subreddits have even begun mass banning thousands of users who ever even participated in right-leaning subreddits such as r/conservative. This further factionalizes Reddit, and once massively popular subreddits like Justice Served have lost thousands of active users because of the mass banning campaigns. Why doesn't Reddit do something about this? Because Reddit mods do an estimated $34 million of labor for free every single year. Has anyone noticed that Reddit is a bit dead nowadays? Social media sites thrive on free speech. I think this is absolutely true. The moment that people can't talk about ideas and they can't have like real conversations is the moment that everything basically falls apart. Because like you're no longer getting like, that's why Threads never popped off. It's why Blue Sky or Mastodon never pops off, because nobody wants to join a social media network whenever its main selling point is censorship. Like, it's like, what an insane thing to even try to promote. How can you possibly think this is a good idea? But here they are, they're doing it, and it's completely failing. And I think this is definitely true, too, is that a lot of Reddit communities have died over the years because of continuous, like, you know, like whenever you have like a, you know, you drop a marble in a sink and, you know, the whole idea of like circling the drain and like the faster it gets to the bottom and like falling out is the faster it moves. And I think this is kind of what happens, is like it's very slow at first, and then the extremism accelerates itself, which then accelerates itself. And eventually you have a place where only one type of ideology is acceptable, and every other group of thinking is basically subject to murder. And so, which is, you know, again, the posts like this, right? I mean, you could say this is an exaggeration, but it's clearly not. Social media sites thrive on free speech. This is the inevitable result. Oh yeah, this was about that one. Some person drew something that looked like AI art, and then the person deleted it and said that it wasn't AI art. I mean, this is just, again, people will not be able to tell if something is AI art, like, very well, very soon. Like, I think this idea of, like, trying to detect AI art is stupid. A moderator of AI art deletes a user's post. Okay. So this guy, this thread brings up a lot of really great points, and I think that they're basically right about everything, but they're not right about how to solve the problem. So the reason why they're not accurate about that is because a lot of the people who are participating in these subreddits have every right and every tool to make their own communities that are antithetical to what the existing Reddit groups are. So, for example, if you don't like the way that a certain subreddit is being run, you have every ability and every right to be able to create your own space and move other people over to that based off of how the free market of ideas decides that your ideas are valuable and worth pursuing. So, really, I don't want to see anybody crying to Daddy Reddit of, like, banning these power mods. No. These power mods are simply this is a necessary consequence of freedom of speech. Because the problem is that freedom of speech and freedom of expression does actually create echo chambers, and it does create, like, a censorship. And the way it does it is actually not through freedom of expression or freedom of speech, but it's by freedom of association. So what ends up happening is that people who think the same thing as each other all get together, and then they agree that in their space, you can only say and do these certain things, which I think is okay. Because the reason why that's okay is because nobody else is forced to be in that space at all. They ban every sub they don't agree with, yeah. And so that's the way these things happen. And the way I think Reddit should handle this is that I think they should probably try to promote more subreddits that are not part of the top 500 and have a different type of algorithm that weights posts differently based off of how many active users are in the posts versus how many updates the post gets. So, like, for example, a post that has 10,000 active users and it gets 1,000 upvotes is not as impressive as a place that has, you know, 1,000 users and gets 1,000 upvotes. You see what I'm saying? So, like, they need to have an algorithm that rewards emerging communities. Because really the problem with this is that a lot of the subreddits that are popular now, like if you just go and you look at this, I'm going to open up Reddit on a completely incognito window, okay? Oh my god. So a lot of these subreddits have been around for years. Like Facepalm, mildly infuriating, interesting as fuck, me IRL. Like all of these have been around for such a long time. Well, they have basically a hegemony on the Reddit culture. And the reason why that hegemony exists is because Reddit rewards big subs by giving them more promotion. So what needs to happen is that Reddit needs to change the way that they do their algorithm and make it to where smaller subreddits get promoted on the front page more often. You see what my point is? I got permabanned from WoW Reddit for calling paladins a wheelchair class. Now that's funny. Yeah, that's stupid, but the truth is that if enough people don't like their behavior, you can always go and make your own subreddit for World of Warcraft, and then nobody has an obligation to go on the official WoW subreddit. You see what I'm saying? Nobody has to do that. Now that Reddit's publicly traded, I'm sure there'll be quite a few changes, especially considering monetization. I don't think they're really going to change anything, because the truth is that the way that the moderators moderate Reddit is in a way that advertisers like. Because advertisers like, and this isn't like a base anti-SJW thing. I think this is just like very obvious that a lot of advertising is much more sympathetic to left-leaning ideas versus right-leaning ideas. So whenever you have a bunch of hyper-leftist moderators that are removing anybody who's going to say anything that's conservative or that could be, you know, like negative about trans people or something like that, this works in Reddit's best interest, because Reddit's best interest is maintaining these advertisers, and advertisers care about it. And that's the way that they look at it. I wonder why? Well, there's like 50 different reasons why. It's not important to know why. It's important to know that it's happening, though. So I think that's the result of this. So if people don't like this, and why did this happen? So the reason why this happened, there's like a lot of different reasons. Okay, so if you go back to like, there was an entire, it was like, there was not one racist subreddit. There was like 50 of them, or like 100 of them. And the biggest one was Raccoon Town, except without the rack. This was the biggest subreddit. And it was all about racist shit. People were talking bad shit. And they had this for years and years. I remember that, yes. There were a lot of these subreddits. There was like 50 of them. And they were like very creative with coming up with new names that were like, you know, a different type of racism. And the funny thing about what happened was that there was also another subreddit called Fat People Hate. And Fat People Hate got banned before the racist subreddits did. Why is that? Well, it's probably because the moderators were fat and not black. But that's what happened. And this was back in like 2012, 2013 or something like that. No way. Oh, yes. So I was there 3,000 years ago. And I don't just remember WoW things, I remember everything. And so this is what happened. And then this became a massive big thing. And then they started banning subreddits based off of this. Then after that, there was a CEO that took over who effectively was just a fall guy. And her name was Ellen Pao. And then a bunch of other subreddits came out that were basically like kill Ellen Pao. Like punch Ellen Pao, and they were just like crazy, like just deranged subreddits, and it completely dominated Reddit for a long time. Then, if you contextualize that about something that, like, I wasn't even really on Reddit that much at the time, but there was another Reddit, the r/jailbait. Well, that one was so bad. Yes, fuck that. Yes, that one was so bad that they even did news articles about it, and Reddit was forced to shut it down. And that's basically what happened. That's, yeah. So that one was huge. Yeah, it was like one of the most popular subreddits. It was crazy. And so then that got deleted. And then there were, of course, like revenge porn subreddits and other types of like degeneracy subreddits, etc., right? Forced subreddits. Yeah. And so, anyway, this happened for quite a while. And then after Ellen Powell, like, they basically had her come on, make a bunch of unpopular changes, and then they fired her. She was the CEO. But really, I mean, again, in a company, a CEO is like about 2 levels below the top, right? You have like the board, and then you have the executive chairman of the board. And if it's a publicly traded company, what's really the end all and be all is shareholder voting, right? And so like it's really 2 or 3 levels of removal from the actual top of the decision making chain. So then Ellen Powell took over, and they got rid of her. And then the 2016 election happened. Well, I guess like Gamergate was like pretty big, but like Gamergate really wasn't that big. It was just like, oh my God, video games journalists are corrupt. Like, think about how many people really give a shit about that, right? So this is like 2014, 2015. And then 2016 comes around, and this is the big one, right? Because in 2016, you had Donald J. Trump, the big man himself. The current sitting president, because we all know Biden's actually just sitting at a Hollywood studio. It's not the real White House. And so anyway, our president, that's right. And so, which by the way, a lot of people were unhappy because I made jokes about Trump during his rally yesterday. Guess what? He's a funny guy. He does a lot of funny things. I'll make jokes about Biden after that, and then you guys can cry about that afterwards. So just keep in mind, Trump does some funny, stupid things, and it's okay to laugh at him. It doesn't mean that, you know, I want America to get destroyed. Anyway, but he does stupid shit, right? I mean, God. Like, and by the way, I looked up how many birds get killed by, what do you call it? By wind turbines. It's like it's like a infinitesimally smaller number than birds that get killed by walls and windows. It's like a 200 to 1. Like 300 to 1. It's like, it's not like cats. Yeah, one bird is too many, brother. Imagine if that was bald eagle. Huh? You still think it's okay? What are you, terrorist? Yeah, no, I know. Not the eagles, brother. No, it depends on the species. Well, I mean, all I did is I looked it up, and I looked at the 2022 statistics, and that's clearly not what happened. But anyway, it doesn't matter. The point is that, so the Donald. This was a really, really big subreddit, and it was a subreddit built all around the meme magic of Donald Trump. And then after that took over, then like 4 other subreddits took over at the same time that were extensions of the Donald. And this happened, and obviously, like, you know, they pushed Donald all the way up to the top. Every top post was about Donald Trump being Pepe the Frog or something like that. People were going, the front page was fucked, yeah. Everybody was going apeshit about this. Then after, yeah, the centipedes. Remember that? Yes. Holy fuck, the centipedes. Oh my God, I forgot all about the centipedes. Yes. Yes. And then there were the videos. The Nimble Navigator. There it is. And people had constantly spammed that whenever he was in the debates. So what happened after that is all of the people in Reddit hated this. Like a lot of, because like basically a lot of the people that were doing this were effectively tourists to Reddit. And after the election was over, a lot of those people left Reddit. Like, because the election's over, we won the war, it's over. Like, haha, meme magic is real, he's the president now, fuck you guys. And they're gone, they're finished, it's over. And so all of the people that stuck around were the people who were angry about it and were mad. And I think that's what originally started causing, like, the massive schism that you see now on Reddit, with it being so one-dimensional. Is because if you look at it, again, and this is, and it does matter, like, the fat people hate and everything else, because these are the different... And also, by the way, Reddit was criticized heavily by mainstream media for allowing these things to happen. So Reddit, after that, became much more okay with having subreddits get banned and having things be removed whenever they violated rules that were put in place to maintain advertising dollars. So Redditor became a slur. Yeah, permabans are annoying, right? This is all facts. Oh, it is. Reddit privated the subreddit in 2019 and shut it down a year later. Right. And so the Donald, Reddit, the Donald subreddit. So this is on Wikipedia, 2015, and then 2018, Steve Bannon's statements about Trump. Trump himself criticized Bannon's statements. Subreddit turned against Bannon, right? after Christchurch mosque shooting that justified the shooting. Quarantine, right. And so this is in June 26, 2019. It got quarantined, which is quarantine is what happens to subreddits whenever Reddit doesn't want to ban them, but they're banning them. So quarantine happened to a lot of the racism subreddits. It happened to like one of the Gamergate subreddits. It happened to the Donald. It happened to Ice Poseidon 2. It happened to... I feel like that's basically what it was, right? And yeah, I think there's a Red Pill subreddit. Yeah, all my favorite subs. Yeah, there you go. And so the subreddit's moderators have attempted to evade Reddit's imposed quarantine by reviving and promoting a subreddit called Mr. Trump. Yeah, so basically Reddit, and this is the company itself. The company itself shut down the subreddit. And the reason why they shut it down is because some people were saying that the Christchurch mosque shootings... So when did this happen? This happened, there was some piece of shit like 5 years ago, I guess it was 2019, that shot up a church because, you know, it's just a piece of shit, right? I mean, there it is. And so some people were saying that this was a good thing on that subreddit. And, you know, this again also was like in 2019 where a lot of public opinion had turned against Trump and people had, you know, I guess, let me see, what's the time frame here? November 2019. Yeah, February 2020. This is like at the start of COVID. And finally, in the middle of COVID, June 29th, 2020, they banned the subreddit because that's whenever, obviously, you know, things were at like the most heightened thing. It was a mosque, church. Excuse me. Well, like it was a, you know, you see what I'm saying, right? But it was at a mosque. Yeah, but you're right. You're right. I was inaccurate. And so, anyway, all of this stuff happened. And if I remember right, Donald Trump even did an AMA on this subreddit. He actually did an AMA on the fucking subreddit. Yeah, he did. And so this was a really, really big deal. So Reddit actually removed all of these people themselves. Now, why did Reddit remove the Donald? It's a 5-letter word. Does anybody know what it is? Starts with an M, ends with a Y. Money. They only care about money. They don't care about any of these things. They had no problem letting an entire empire of racist subreddits run wild for the better part of 10 years. And the only time they got rid of it, they didn't have a problem seeing pictures of underage girls get posted. The only time that got removed was whenever they started paying attention to it in the media. So, like, Reddit doesn't care about any of this stuff. They don't give a fuck. So, the only reason that they did that is they were afraid they would lose advertising because the Christchurch shooting was really bad. And, you know, they were worried that if, you know, people connected the Donald to that and then they connected Reddit to that, advertisers would pull out. Reddit CEO Spez was, in fact, a moderator of r/jailbait. That's actually a very good point, and you're totally right. I forgot that. This was in about 2008, 2009. Yes, one of the CEOs was actually a moderator on that subreddit. That's right, gentlemen. However, I think that he might have been categorically a moderator of all subreddits because of the way the site was laid out. I'm not sure if he was explicitly actually moderating that or if that was just given to him based on his position at the company. So, you know, we don't want to go too far with that. Only a minority on the Donald was racist. Stop rewriting the narrative. What part of the narrative have I rewritten? What part have I rewritten? I feel like, guys, for those of you that were there 3,000 years ago, have I provided an accurate portrayal of the chain of events? And how this leads to the place that we're at today? Yes. I think that I have. What did I say? So they had to get quarantined and banned. You're implying the whole entire subreddit was racist? No, I'm not. It doesn't matter whether it was racist or not. It matters whether it's being perceived as being racist or not. You understand? Like, I don't care about... And this is, like, again, that's why I said I don't want to get into, like, oh, were they wrong or not? Yes, you are. Okay, well, I'll make it very clear. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. There were people that were racist on that subreddit. Yeah. Was every single person racist? I don't know. Were they racist more in 2019, 2020? Probably, but like, I don't know. I wasn't really there. They were unfairly banned, in my opinion. Well, and again, I'm not going to get into whether this should or shouldn't happen. My point is that Reddit made this happen themselves. Reddit wants this because having high, like, basically, like, extremist left-wing moderation is more profitable right now than allowing right-wing opinions, like people asking about trans and, you know, talking about, like, the Christ shooter and stuff like that. It's just simply more profitable than free speech. That's the reason why Reddit does it. Reddit doesn't have an agenda. They don't care about any politician. Reddit doesn't care about anything except for making money. That's all they care about. They had no problem profiting off of jailbait. They had no problem profiting off of racism. They had no problem profiting off of forced sex subreddits. They had no problem with any of it until the money came into question. Please do not confuse yourself and believe that they have any type of principle or morality. They are a for-profit company. That's all they are. They serve a purpose to make money, and that is it. Anyway, same with Pornhub? Sure. Anyway, this is just it's an ongoing issue, and I don't think that Reddit is going to change this problem. Now, what can users on Reddit do to combat overzealous moderators and to combat people that are trying to use a subreddit as a tool to push their agenda? What can they do? It's very simple. They can make their own communities and have their own rules and decide what they want to do on their own. You are not obligated to go to a subreddit just because it's popular. That's what bots do. It actually is literally what bots do, by the way. You can go anywhere you want. So that's my advice. How many people are on Reddit? It used to be a useful search, technical questions, but nowadays ChatGPT 4 does better. Yeah, maybe. But yeah, that's the way I think people should address it and deal with it. Reddit has the biggest extremist creating site on the web. I actually really agree with this. I think that Reddit is the worst website for promoting extremism. The reason why Reddit is the worst website for promoting extremism is because Reddit allows users to actively censor each other. And no other community allows that at all. So basically, if you tweet, like, Reddit can effectively delete your posts, and other users can delete your posts by downvoting them, because the posts at the very bottom get, like, hidden and you're not able to see them anymore. So they effectively have the tools to censor people out. Now, what's my favorite place to hear honest discussion? 4chan is my favorite place to hear an honest discussion. And the reason why is that the most schizo, insane... Oh, and this is only about opinions. If I want to hear about something that is technical, like what's the best way to fix an Xbox 360, then yeah, I should go to Reddit. But if you're looking for opinions, you should definitely go to a place where everybody is nameless and every post is worth the same amount. And the reason why is that, in a weird way, if you give somebody a mask, it gives them the opportunity to tell you the truth. And people on 4chan can have the most insane, batshit, stupid fucking idea. And people have to read that the same as they have to read somebody else's well-reasoned argument. And there's a certain amount of beauty in that, because everybody there truly is equal. And if you're looking to know what people truly think, well, there it is.